Hi friends, Mrs. Harris here. Today we are going to look at weaving. Our I can statement is, I can use line, overlapping, and shading to create the illusion of weaving on my paper. Weaving is the interlacing of two sets of threads at right angles to each other to form cloth. The tradition of weaving traces back approximately 12,000 years ago, even before the actual process of weaving was discovered. The basic principle of weaving was applied to interlace branches and twigs to create fences and shelters and baskets for protection. Let's look at a few famous weavers. Gunza Stolz is one of the most famous weavers. She is a German-born artist, lived to be the age of 86. Her work is very vibrant and the texture is unbelievable. Another famous weaver is Regan. She was Swiss-born and lived in Norway. Many of her tapestries detailed the events that were occurring on her home soil during World War II. Okay, we're going to look at a weaving. We're not actually going to make it out of paper. We are going to make it out, we're going to draw it is what we're going to do. I want you to look at this. The black represents the warp if we were weaving with fabric, so the technical name for it, and then the orange is representing the weft. Now, when we do this, we have to feed it over, under, over, under. If I was to follow that same last over, under pattern, what's going to happen is it's going to crash into it and it's not going to create that tight woven fiber. And we saw that they use weaving for baskets, shelter, clothing, all kinds of things, and we still use it today. The weft goes horizontally and the warp goes vertically. So I'm going to start my drawing, and the easiest way to do this is to start with your warp. You're going to need at least 12 of these ribbons, as I'm going to call them. I'm going to refer to them constantly as ribbons. You're going to need 12 ribbons. We're not creating a tight woven piece. We're going to have open slots in ours. So you're going to have 12 warps going across it, and then you're going to have at least 6. Now, when I say 12, I mean you can have more than 12, obviously. And notice how I'm not creating straight lines. I'm letting them wiggle as they move along here. I really needed to finish doing these things first. And they don't have to follow the same pattern. Don't let them end up straight. They can be different thicknesses. And again, now the hard part is going to come because we have to now determine which piece of the ribbon falls over and under. And it's always going to be the opposite of what it was above it. So as I move down my ribbon, it will always change the way it looks. So if I start here and say this one is over, I don't want you to write these letters on here. I'm just showing you over, under, over. Then this one would be under, over, under. And then this would be over, under, over. This gets really confusing. All right, so once I've got them labeled over, under, over, you can see the different pattern, how it goes. It just changes. So with this one going over this ribbon, if I'm looking at this one, because I'm going to take all of these are going to be my guides, and I'm going to say this is going over. And this would be my weft, and it's going over the ribbon underneath. So to go over it, I have to erase it horizontally. So I'm going to go this way. And this is why I don't want you to do the letters, the O's and the H's and all of that stuff, because it's really hard to erase. Now it's going to go under. So I'm going to go vertically. Erase it vertically. Again, you really have to be concentrating when you do this. So this is an over. So I know it's a horizontal. So I'm going to go that way. Okay, so you always need to be checking your ribbon. So it's going under, over, under. This one's going over, under, over. And I've got it working out. Now, when we go to black marker this, take your time. This is so easy to make a mistake, and I don't have any white out. And I prefer not to use white out because you cannot use colored pencil over it. Try to go over where you stopped those lines so it looks like it's a consistent piece of ribbon. And again, this is probably the most confusing assignment you will ever do, but it really gets your brain thinking about patterns and the way things work. Again, you are going to have 6 wefts and 12 warps or more. Remember, you can always do more. And then we're gonna look at shading because we're gonna try to make this look like it's actually moving in and out of the weave. So I've got that done. What you'll end up doing is your paper is gonna end up looking something like this. We're gonna end up black markering the entire piece, and then we're gonna end up shading with colored pencil, and you can see I've already started it. And what I've done and what I want you to do is the colored pencil I'm gonna use is red and black, and then I'm gonna use blue. White's not gonna help us much here, but I want you to notice where it's going under, it's getting darker. Where it goes over, it's lighter, it's got a highlight. So we're using shades and tints. So how do I do that? It's all about pressure. Back here, I'm gonna push a little bit harder, get a little bit darker red, and I know I need that right here because I'm going under, because under it gets darker. Think about going underground, it's gonna get darker. And as we come out of being underground, it's gonna get lighter. And again, I'm gonna do this really slowly, and I'm not applying a lot of pressure because I wanna keep it as light as possible. And I probably am gonna have to go back over it a couple of times just to get my values right. Be careful of your pencil direction. We really don't wanna see it going two different directions once I get it here. And again, don't necessarily let this look like a straight line where it gets darker to lighter. Let it kind of blend that way. Now I'm gonna take the black and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna mix that in there. Again, it's gonna be the darkest point right next to the ribbon edge. So right here is where it's gonna be at its darkest point. And that's how we're gonna finish the whole thing. You can use multiple colors. I've got 2 going here. I could add a 3rd ribbon. It's up to you, whatever color palette you want. But again, you need to do the over, under technique. Take your time. It's, again, easy to make mistakes. Remember, you're gonna have at least 6 wefts going this way, and you're gonna have at least 12 warps going this way.